Hey everyone, my name is Alexa and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing ACE International History Unit 4.2. The big question for this review is how effectively did Chiang Kai-Sheck deal with the communists in the period of 1927 to 1936? So let's get into it. To begin, the KMT had peasants and factory workers supporting them, and Chiang versus Wang. So Wang supporters, Chiang was powerful and only wanted to turn China into a military dictatorship, and Chiang supporters were communists that infiltrated the government. So in 1927, the CCP, led by Chow and Lei, insurrections on industrial workers in Shanghai in March local warland has been defeated. And then Chiang began the purification movement to try and remove KMT communism. Then in April 1927, Chiang closed Shanghai headquarters, CCP, and martial law. Then the Green Gang of Shanghai were opium smugglers and criminals, which were also violent suppression. And there was purges such as the White Terror to spread to other parts of China, and this led to more deaths. Communists were hunted and killed. Communist leader Chow En-lai was defeated, and then the government with Wang was attacked by warlords supporting Chiang, which led to the collapse of the government. Then Wang had inconsistent political career and died in 1944. Then in 1927, in the late summer, Chiang was the undisputed leader of the KMT, and in 1928, Chiang was the political and military leader of China, and the KMT lost Russian support. Then Mao Zedong was the leader of the Communist Party, which was the Revolutionary Army of Workers and Peasants. Now let's go into the Long March. So the Long March was when Mao held senior positions at both the CCP and the KMT, so he had a very high reputation. In 1931, he joined armies with Chu Te, and he was the Worker and Peasants Red Army. So they joined with the Red Army. Then Mao became the chairman of the Soviet Republic of China in 1931, and the CCP was a threat to the KMT, which restricted the KMT's Kangxi control. Then in 1930 to 1934, Chiang's extermination campaigns were released, and Mao was trying to gain peasant support, but was disagreed with the guerrilla war. And Mao got the Red Army members to falsely arrested, which led to the Red Army Battalion. So, Mao Zedong was from 1893 to 1976, and he was a Marxist and communist and saw a Russian Revolution of 1917 as China's fate. Foreign journalists saw Mao as a terrorist and the same as a warlord. Mao believed that the revolution was the only way to resurge China, and he prioritized survival over the revolution in 1934. And the KMT surrounded the CCP, and CCP leaders split over attacking the KMT. Mao opposed the attack, and then Mao was then removed from the leadership, and CCP endured the losses in the Long March to Yan'an. So the Long March was over 368 days, and it covered difficult attacks, leadership, and Mao was basically the head of this. Mao would get rid of items, split forces, and avoid straight lines to make the KMT not know where they were going. And challenges were difficult terrains, warlords, attacks from Tibetans, and it was a really harsh journey for most people. Now, moving on to the Xi'an incident. So, this occurred in 1936, and Chiang faced many challenges to get leadership in China in the 1930s. So, Chiang's government was threatened by Japan's interest in Manchuria, which was which led to the Mukden incident of Japanese invading Manchuria and established Mukden as a puppet state. And a puppet state is a state that's normally independent but really under the control of another state. So China was vulnerable after the League failed to stop Japan, and Chiang followed the policy of non-resistance to fight the CCP and focus on internal fixing. Then the generals Zhang and Yang wanted to ally with the CCP, which was in the Xi'an incident, and the CCP was able to negotiate a peaceful relation with Zhang and Yang. So the formation of the Second United Front began to resist Japanese aggression, and the outcome supported Chiang's freedom, resistance of Japan, and CCP survival. Some KMT members lost power, Zhang and Yang faced consequences. So now the KMT and the CCP had a truce and tested collaboration in 1937, full-scale war with Japan. Now, moving on to attempts at modernization and reform, Sun Yat-sen wanted a unified and democratic China. And the process in unifying China by Chiang's KMT in 1928 was a harsh one. So nationalist government in the Nanking decade wanted to modernize China, which was the KMT that wanted to do that. And they followed Sun's three-stage revolution, which was the unified military, education for democracy, and democracy. So Chiang's competition of first stage in 1928 was to boost the economy, minimize foreign influence, and improve conditions for workers and peasants. Then this led to the Nanking Decade success, which the Nanking Decade was a formal Chinese and Japanese war outbreak in 1937, which was where the nationalist government took the time and opportunity to modernize China, and the KMT called it the Golden Decade because that's what they wanted. So the measures to modernize included economic stimulation, investment and industrialization, and economic reconstruction. And then to do this, they heavily relied on foreign loans, especially from the USA, and they tried to improve the public health, avoid opium trafficking, modernize legal penal systems, and agriculture reform to improve land ownership. So that's basically it for Unit 4.2. Stay tuned for Unit 4.3 coming soon.